There's a major change happening as far as the gold sector is concerned, and the NDC is leading that change. It was first in their manifesto. Now they want to make it a reality. I'm talking about this Goldbod initiative. In the last few days, they have succeeded in laying the Goldbod bill before Parliament. But this is such a fundamental change in the way we've dealt with gold exports, gold purchasing schemes, that it needs further interrogation, especially now that the bill is before Parliament. We need to learn a bit more about the bill itself, its content, and what it seeks to change, what problem it is seeking to solve, and how is the government anticipating dealing with the challenges that other similar entities like the Cocoa Board have, for example, dealt with and currently trying to overcome. So tonight is a very important conversation with a man who has been tasked with the president with that very daunting task of creating this new entity to deal with this big problem. And the history tells us that governments over the years, dating back to 1989, have tried to do something about the small-scale gold mining sector. You go all the way back to PMMC Law 218, attempting to regularize that particular sector, and that is in 1989. You come to 2006, there was another attempt to do a bit more with the new Mining Act, Act 703, introduced stricter laws in that particular area. So there's a lot that has happened there. You come to 2010, you have the allocation of land and extended tenure for small-scale miners that was also introduced in there. Again, trying to deal with some challenges that government at the time saw. You come to 2016, a similar intervention there. Minerals Development Fund was created to support mining communities. And this hasn't stopped, right? Because we saw in 2017, the past government brought in the temporary ban on small-scale mining to sanitize that particular area. And then 2017 still, launch of the Operation Vanguard. And this is where illegal mining became an issue, right? In these mining communities to try and deal with it. So we've seen this very dangerous relationship that has existed between small-scale mining and illegal mining. Sometimes you can't even know and tell where you draw the line between small-scale mining and illegal mining. And then we have the mining ban lifted. Then the government introduced a community mining schemes, which became a cover, if you talk to those who understand this particular scheme, for small-scale illegal mining in communities. The government is scrapping this and making way for another intervention. You have the National Alternative Employment and Livelihood Program that was also launched 2021. And then we are now talking about Goldbod, which really is generally to deal with all the challenges we have with smuggling of gold, especially by small-scale miners out of the country. We're losing quite a bit of money there. And the destruction that we've seen in the forest reserve is fundamentally quite significant. If you regularize the sector, make it easy for small-scale miners to have a ready market for what they are producing, the gold, then the thinking is you reduce smuggling, but you also provide an incentive for them to do it right, because they know that they can sell it properly and get guaranteed prices and guaranteed markets for it, especially when you compare the contribution of gold exports to our major exporting basket. It's rising. More than 50% of what we export currently is gold. So this is critical for the economy. And that's why you've seen the finance minister talk about this. If you're losing $2 billion annually because of smuggling of gold in an economy where money is hard to come by and the government needs every little money they can find, it's a big deal you need to tackle. And Goldbod is the NDC's attempt at dealing with the problem. So how are they going about it? They tell us that if you introduce this, you're going to give them improved pricing mechanisms. Of course, that will then make the small-scale miners tend to government. And then you can track, regularize the activities, introducing pre-financing options for them, and also incentivize those who are doing the job of looking out for those who are doing bad and whistleblowing on them too. And then you have the big question of the government broad strategy in this area. Last week I spoke to the Mines and Natural Resources Minister, re-emphasized the point about the NDC's approach of rescaling the mining small scale, medium scale, large scale. Key question is the Goldbod. Would they be buying gold from large scale too? Because if you look at the NDC stratification, there's small, there's medium, there's large. Would they be buying from all the various skills that they've already put in their manifesto. But I also want to establish this Goldbod initiative, and this is in the NDC manifesto. So this is something they promised to do. They came before you, you voted for them, and they haven't wasted time to an attempt to try and execute this. The man behind it all is with me in the studio, Sammy Gyamfi. We'll sit down and begin to understand what really is the Goldbod initiative, and what really did he put before Parliament, and how does that affect you? You actually begin to learn that if they really want to deal with the fluctuating cedi against the dollar, the forex challenges, then it has a direct impact on your pocket, because that really is what affects inflation. Imported inflation is what we've been dealing with a lot, because we are using the small cedis we have to chase and import a lot of goods pegged in dollars into the country. They hope that a gold board will have some impact on that. So we'll get him to explain all this. Stay with me. Very important conversation indeed. Understanding what this gold board really is. Right after this. And thanks for staying with us here on PM Express. It's always brought to you by Syntex Tanks. It is strong, it is tough. Academic Times and Pepsodent Cavity Fighter. Now, Ghana, let's talk about water tanks. Do you know the secret to real storage? It's simple. If your tank doesn't have the tortoise on it, then it is not the correct tank. That's right. The tortoise tank, Syntex tank, is the champion of water tanks. It is strong, it is durable, and built to handle our Ghanaian weather. Rain or shine, Syntex tank has your back. So my people, go outside, check your tank, and if it doesn't have a tortoise on it, it's time to upgrade. Join the Syntex tank family today and enjoy water storage that's tough like a tortoise. 0244-335-168 to buy now, or find their agents, 400 of them nationwide. Syntex tank is strong, it is tough. An Academic Times newspaper, it's one I recommend because it will be launching soon with the distinctive graphic publications and journal to showcase and empower students across all educational levels. Look out for it when it is launched. And tonight, before you sleep, get a Pepsodent Cavity Fighter and use that to brush your teeth. It's pretty important because, you know, throughout the day you've been eating sugars and they get trapped in your teeth and they can cause gum disease and in some cases foul breath. That is how to deal with it tonight. Just get the Pepsodent Cavity Fighter and use that. My guest in the studio with me is Sammy Gyamfi. He is the Managing Director, Precious Minerals Marketing Company. Sammy, thank you very much.
Thanks for having me, Ivan.
Let's talk about the Goldbod. I believe last week you laid the bill before Parliament.
Yes.
What is the Goldbod bill? What is in this bill that we need to know about?
Well, there are over 77 clauses in the Goldbod bill. But to summarize, I would say that it is a bill that is seeking to structure, streamline, and regulate the gold trading industry of Ghana. To structure it, to streamline it, and to regulate it. For what objective? The objective is simple: to optimize national benefits. So the current gold trading sector of Ghana is very unstructured, very fragmented, and unregulated. And as a result, the state is not getting the benefits it needs to get from that important resource we've been endowed with by God. You know that for a long time, Ghana has been a major producer and exporter of gold. In fact, as we speak, Ghana is the lead exporter of gold. But if you go on the streets of Ghana and you ask any ordinary Ghanaian whether or not as a nation we have benefited from gold, the answer will be no. Yes, gold has played a very key role in our developmental, process as a nation, but we all agree that we could have done far better with gold. Now, so whilst agencies like the Minerals Commission, the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources and Environment and Science try to manage the environmental impact of mining, the mining of gold in our country, His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama believes that we also need to look at the trading of gold and see what benefits we can get. Because for a very long time as a nation, Ghana, the system that we've had for our gold trading sector is that you have multiple state agencies all involved in gold trading with private players in gold trading. And that is what I mean by the sector being unstructured and unregulated. So there are gold dealers licensed by the Precious Minerals Marketing Corporation to buy gold locally and sell gold. We give them the license. And then you have those who call themselves bullion traders, simply put, exporters, who have been licensed by another state agency, the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, on the advice of the Minerals Commission, who have been given a license to buy, sell, and export gold. So 2 state agencies licensing people involved in the same trade. So who do these traders answer to? Then in this market, if you look at those who are licensed by the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, you have foreigners in there, mainly Indians and Chinese. And they outnumber the Ghanaians. And they have the wherewithal to buy more gold and export the gold than the Ghanaians. Then you have, in 2022, the Central Bank of Ghana, as a result of the severe economic crisis we're confronted with, deciding to actually go into the market and buy gold. And they decided to buy this gold through the PMMC and other private aggregators. So the PMMC, which licenses traders to go and buy gold, is also in the market buying gold for the Bank of Ghana. And it is buying gold with money given it by the Bank of Ghana, which money the PMMC has given to other aggregators to buy gold for the PMMC for the Bank of Ghana. Then the intervention from the Bank of Ghana was not adequate for the then government. I'm talking about the previous MPP administration. So then they decide from a policy perspective that another state agency called the Minerals Income Investment Fund, MIF, should also go into the market and buy gold. So you have MIF also in the market buying gold with its selected aggregators. So this is the current state of the Ghanaian gold trading sector.
While on that, how does the Goldbod fix that?
Yeah.
What are they proposing to do there?
So all these people buying gold, and Bank of Ghana says, I want to get the gold. I want to get more gold than anyone. Bank of Ghana doesn't have the enforcement powers to deal with smugglers, to deal with people who don't have a license yet are dealing in gold. So what does the Bank of Ghana decide to do? The Bank of Ghana says, I'm going to buy the gold at spot price to make sure that it doesn't make sense for even the smuggler to buy. And as a result, the Bank of Ghana incurs a lot of losses, because when you buy the gold, you will incur costs before you export. And all that is losses sitting in the books of the Bank of Ghana. Okay? Then MIF, as a result, also has to buy the gold at a high price, because Bank of Ghana has raised the price. And that is why you heard that MIF has incurred losses to the tune of $90 million and over, as a result of it venturing into gold trading in a very unstructured environment. And so all these factors have led to a situation where today the local price of gold is the highest you can find in Africa, and I dare say the world. And
although the world price is just about $3,000
sometimes there are times like last week, and even this week, no, last week, where the local price of gold was higher than the international market price. Because you are having a high demand, a lot of money chasing gold in small quantities. So obviously that will lead to inflation. And because though the Bank of Ghana MIF don't even have enough funds to mop up, let me use simple language, to buy all the gold that is on the market, then others also get the opportunity to buy some. And when they buy, they can't export it. They have to smuggle. Only a few people are able to buy in this environment and export through the legal means. They have to smuggle. Why? Because when he buys it at that high price, he has to pay 1.5% withholding tax. He has to pay as a fee of 0.258% to the PMMC. He has to pay his freight. He has to pay insurance and all that. He has to pay a refining charge. If he's selling to Dubai, he has to pay a discount and all that. So the trade is not profitable. He has to smuggle. So because of this, President Mahama is saying no. let us have one state entity who will be responsible for regulating this market. We are not going to have multiple agencies buying gold. We are not going to have multiple agencies licensing gold dealers. We are going to have one state agency licensing all dealers, whether it is the aggregator, whether it is the buyer, one agency licensing all of them. And that agency will be supported by the government with enough liquidity, enough cash in cedis to buy all the good on the market.
Okay, so
not as an agency, but through its licensed private sector.
So similar
agents.
to Goldbod.
Exactly.
Similar to Goldbod.
Exactly.
But you would be, ultimately, everything will end with you.
Yes, in the sense that in terms of buying the gold, central government is giving us money, okay, which money we can show up if there is a gap. And I'll talk about how we're going to do that. But at least that money can at least buy 3 tons of gold every
which is, I saw that in the budget.
in the budget.
So the Bank of Ghana's gold purchasing scheme will stop.
For ASM, artisanal small scale mining.
But they can still buy from
That's
large
outstanding.
scale.
They can still buy because they have negotiated with a large scale mining company, some of them, not all of them, to buy 20% of the gold they produce in bullion form offshore, not in Ghana. Which gold is physically used to show up our gold reserves at the Bank of England.
So far as the gold is produced here,
In Ghana,
only the Goldbod
yes, if you
has
want
the
to buy
mandate to
gold
purchase.
in Ghana,
It has
in the
to come through
downstream
the
sector,
Goldbod.
it has to be bought by the Goldbod.
Has to be bought by the
Or it has to be bought by a license holder, a person licensed by the Goldbod, so that we structure it well, streamline it well, regulate it well, regulate the price well, so that the trade is profitable for the state, for the miner, for the buyer, and everybody involved in that value chain.
Apart from regularizing and regulating, is there an economic reason why you're doing this? What is the economic reason?
Because that is the objective. You see, this is what we are seeking to do. But what is the objective? The objective is that unstructured, unregulated system led to a situation where, number one, we were not getting the forex we are supposed to get as a nation from the gold we export from Ghana. So you have these exporters, over 70 of them, licensed by the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources. And these guys have paid money for their licenses. They are in the market. And you have PMMC buying gold, Bank of Ghana buying gold, MIF buying gold. These guys cannot compete with Bank of Ghana. So you are compelling them either to fold up or to smuggle. If the person wants to export through the legal means, he loses out completely. So most of these people, especially the foreigners, not only the foreigners, the Ghanaians who are part of that, but especially the foreigners, they buy to smuggle. And when they smuggle, the state is deprived or denied of the dollars, the forex. So when you see the cedi depreciating at an alarming rate, today the Bank of Ghana rate is 15.5. In the black market, you need about 16 cedi, 16.1 to get a dollar.
Yeah.
Why? It's because those who need dollars for business cannot get the dollars. Those who need dollars to import goods cannot get the dollars. And about 90% of the things on the market is imported. So when there is a shortage of dollars, the exchange rate keeps going up and prices keeps going up. And Ghanaians suffer. And so President Mahama is saying we need to address cost of living. And one of the most important things to tackle if you want to bring down cost of living is the exchange rate. You need a stable Ghana cedi. And if we can get a stable Ghana cedi, then we need a lot of forex inflows to support the cedi. How do you get a forex? You have gold. So why are you allowing anybody, every Tom, Dick, and Harry to buy the gold, majority of them smuggling the gold? Have one entity, resource the entity to license agents, buy the gold through these agents, and be the sole exporter of the gold. So under the Goldbod, no one can export gold except the Goldbod. And once we are the one exporting, all the dollars will come back.
So I see two main objectives, largely. One, stop smuggling. Two, economic benefit.
The economic benefit.
Which is Forex.
Yeah.
Showing up your...
And not just the Forex. I'm going to explain
reserves.
something. You see, currently, under the current arrangement, just to reiterate the point about Forex generation for the country, which is the main object of the Goldbod. Currently, the legal regime allows the exporters to repatriate just 80% of the Forex. And they are supposed to do so within 30 days. Even with that, they don't comply. What that simply means is that they buy gold in cedis, they export the gold, they get dollars. They don't bring all the dollars back. And they don't bring it back even on time. They don't comply with the legal requirements. When you have Goldbod, you buy the gold, you export the gold. When you export the gold, that same day, you get 90% of the dollars in the country, hitting your account at the Bank of Ghana. So we don't have to wait for 30 days for an exporter, a private person, to bring us dollars, because it is Goldbod. Once we export, that same day we get 90 to 95% of the dollars. And within 48 hours, the remainder of the dollars come. But apart from that, revenue. You see, the Forex is very important. That's why I emphasize it. Because once we can get sufficient Forex inflows, you have a strong exchange rate. It means that inflation is going to go down. Cost of living is going to go down. Every Ghanaian, whether the person has seen gold or not, will benefit, all because we have centralized the trading and export of our gold, and we are bringing in all the Forex associated with that gold. But the second benefit, Evans, the second benefit is revenue. Over the years, I mean, for ages, what do we get from this gold that causes so much damage to the environment? What do we get? Royalties from large scale. Small scale mining companies don't pay royalties. All they pay is the 1.5% withholding tax, which is being scrapped because it is fueling smuggling, it is not fair and all that. And then they pay corporate taxes. And who are those who pay the corporate taxes? Those who are licensed and properly formalized. You understand? Because the sector is largely informal. So even the collection of taxes is a problem for the GRA. So we don't get much. But now, under the Goldbod, the government can buy the gold at a competitive price that guarantees the miner of fair profits, guarantees the trader of fair profits, and guarantees the state of profit as well.
How?
Because...
Profit to the state, I mean.
Profit to the state because gold is a commodity in the market, okay? If somebody pre-finances a miner to mine, he will buy their gold today in Ghana at 10% discount or more. Some even buy at 15% discount.
So you
because he's pre-financing the miner.
Finance.
Yeah, he's pre-financing the miner because he's giving him equipment. The miner has gone through the legally, I'm not talking about galamseyers, I'm talking about those who have gone through the lay-down procedure, they've secured their mining leases, they have their concessions and all that, but they are producing below capacity because they don't have equipment.
So the state, under the Goldbod initiative, will now provide the small-scale miners with equipment?
If you give them environmentally friendly equipment for them, these are licensed miners, regulated, okay, for them to mine in a way that even mitigates the impact on the environment, the negative impact of the activities on the environment, the state can buy the gold at 15% discount or 12% discount or 10% discount. Everybody involved.
Because you have skin in the game. So sort of an
exactly.
So you get a benefit of that.
And that on gold is millions of dollars.
Okay, but you have to net that off because the equipment you're providing is a cost.
It is still your property. You're not selling it. But you see, even without financing him, when you have gold, we buy cocoa at sometimes 70%. We as a government, we believe in buying cocoa at 70% of the international market price. Gold you can buy at 70%, okay? Nobody will give you their gold if you buy it at that high discount. But at least every miner knows that gold anywhere in the world is bought at a discount because the buyer incurs costs before he's able to ship the gold.
But question,
the buyer must also make profit. Hold on.
If I'm a miner and international price of gold, an ounce right now is just over $3,000, why am I going to sell it to you less than that, even if you're pre-financing it?
Yeah, because if you don't pre-finance me, I can't produce the gold. So if you pre-finance me, you are giving me capital to produce the gold, and therefore I must pay you back with a discount. Again, even if you are not pre-financing me, you are a trader. And the gold you're buying from me, you are going to sell on the international market. So if it is being sold on the international market at 10 cedis, and you buy it from me at 10 cedis, you are going to incur losses. Because why? If you buy the gold from me at Takwa, You have to transport the gold, the operational expenses. You have to assay the gold. When you assay the gold, you pay a charge to the state of 0.258%. You have to smelt the gold even before you take it to the PMMC lab for assay. When you're smelting the gold, you pay money. There is a smelting charge, and there are smelting losses. After you have smelted the gold, you have assayed the gold. When you're shipping the gold, you pay your freight. You pay insurance. When you're selling the gold to Dubai, you won't get that international market price. You must sell at a discount. So nobody buys gold at spot price. It means that you are
but the
deliberately
BOG is buying a spot price.
And that is why they are making losses. They were compelled to. They don't. It is not something they love to.
But the gold board is not stopping the BOG from still buying from large-scale mines.
No, but from large-scale mines is a different ball game, because large-scale mines sell the gold to Bank of Ghana refined bullion, 99.999. So the Bank of Ghana just take the refined bullion and it puts it in its bank reserve. It is not going to pay for assay, pay for refining charge, pay for market discount. No. So that is a different arrangement.
But here's a challenge you face, Sammy.
But if you're buying small-scale mining gold, hold on.
Small scale, you want to stop smuggling, but you now have to negotiate a discounted price.
Yes.
This person is already smuggling it out, which is part of the problem you want to fix.
The main
that incentive is still there.
The main smugglers, no. Since time immemorial, since we were born or since Ghana became Ghana, everybody buys gold at a discount. The discount must be fair. If right now you want to go and buy gold at a 10% discount, it's unfair. Nobody will sell that to you because the miner incurs great cost before he produces that gold. If you want to go and buy gold at 7% discount, nobody will sell that to you. But the miner knows that if he's selling gold to you at 1% discount, 2% discount, 3% discount, they know it is fair. Because they know that you also have costs to take care of.
There's a possibility of getting it cheaper elsewhere.
No.
He's getting a better deal out of
the miner, the miner does not enjoy smuggling. Unless he is compelled, and that becomes the last resort. Those who smuggle gold from Ghana are not miners. There are three categories of people who smuggle gold. They are gold traders. Those who buy the gold cheap from the miner. And he says that if I export it through the legal means, this will be my cost. I'm not going to get profit, or my profit will be small. So I will smuggle it so that I avoid paying all the monies I would have paid if I had exported it through the legal means. Those are the ones leading the smuggling. Then there are those involved in the black market, the money changers. They take cedis from market women and all manner of people who want dollars for business reasons. And these people give them their cedis for dollars because the formal banking sector is not able to supply them with the needed forex for them to import things into the country. So they go to the black market, the Abuchi or the Gao man. The person takes the cedis. That black market guy has an account with the Forex Bureau in Dubai, and in Dubai, Forex Bureaus can transfer money. So the Forex Bureau in Dubai transfer money to the supplier of this trader. But when that has been done and the trader is happy, the black market man got me dollars. Now the black market man has only cedis. He needs to go and settle his bill in Dubai. He can't go and settle with cedis. He can't travel with cedis. So what do? They use the cedis to buy gold and smuggle the gold to go and settle
on
that.
the subject
so these are the people, not the miner. So all we are saying is that
smuggling.
Let me just wrap up on this point. So let me wrap up this. So we should stakeholder engagements with the miners have agreed that together with the miners and the traders, we will have a body that will set the price.
Okay.
So we know that this is the cost.
And the Goldbod will be
so we need, this is the cost of Goldbod. This is the cost of miners. What price is fair? That also ensures that the Goldbod makes some profit for the state, and those involved in the trade also make profit. You know, that is why they are traders.
You know what they say? It's really easier said than done. But there's evidence elsewhere that points to the challenge that you will face. The Guyana example. They have a Goldbod. They've run it for 43 years. As we speak currently, they're still dealing and battling with smuggling. In fact, the vice president just last year said these words: they intend to strengthen the Goldbod Act to tackle gold smuggling, to get more risk to the smugglers. The United States Department in 2023, that's 2 years ago, also made this in their findings in the report. Guyana has a high crime rate, violence associated with drugs, and gold smuggling is on the rise. This is after 43 years of implementing the Goldbod
I've
initiative.
seen people make this argument. Let me address
But for me, this is where the question is. The evidence there, and this is not the only place. You also have Zimbabwe that has a similar Goldbod also, that also implements, has the same challenge with smuggling. The evidence shows that from these two, that the Goldbod isn't the solution to smuggling. For 43 years, it's shown it hasn't stopped it. I mean, why do you believe you can succeed when Guyana, after 43 years, has failed in stopping smuggling?
You know, there is no community without crime. Crime cannot be totally eliminated in any industry or community. So it's a non-starter for somebody to say that because there is smuggling in Guyana, then the Guyana Goldbod has not served its intended purpose. They've had this for 40 years. Why do they still have the Guyana Goldbod Act? And why are they even seeking to strengthen the legal regime? We have drawn lessons from the Guyana example.
What lessons?
And you will see, you realize that our act addresses all the gaps and loopholes in the Guyana legal regime. I'll come to that. Again, it's a non-starter for somebody to say that, oh, for example, because people smuggle cocoa, people still smuggle cocoa in Ghana, then it means that Cocoa Board should be disbanded. We don't need Cocoa Board. No. It means that Cocoa Board may be doing something wrong, which is fueling the smuggling. If you are not giving your farmers a fair, competitive price, they will smuggle the cocoa to Cote d'Ivoire. Anytime we have given our cocoa farmers a fair, competitive price, we have rather benefited from smuggling from other neighboring countries.
So how
you get my point?
Fix the Guyana challenge?
So there are two solutions. There are maybe I would say 3 or 4 solutions to smuggling. Setting up the Goldbod is one, because once we have set up the Goldbod, the main smugglers, they know themselves. They are Ghanaians, but they are majority of them are foreigners. Now, no foreigner will be given a license to go and buy gold. So hitherto, foreigners have a license from PMMC and the ministry. They are buying the gold to smuggle, but when you cut them, they say, hey, we have a license. Now, no Indian, no Chinese, no foreigner will be given a license by the Goldbod. We are sanitizing.
So all existing licenses will be revoked.
If you're a foreigner and you want gold, you apply to the Goldbod. The Goldbod has an arrangement with you. You bring money. We give the money to Ghanaian citizens who are licensed. They buy the gold for the Goldbod. We'll ship the gold to you. It's as simple as that. We will not give money to a foreigner to go and buy gold for us. Ghanaians can buy for us. That's number one. So when you have this structure system and you take out all these people, it helps. Number two, because you have Goldbod, you are able to know those who are licensed and go after those who are not licensed, who are dealing in the trade. Then number 3, the price that you are giving the miners and the traders must be fair and competitive. If it is unfair, chances are that they would want
you made the point. You said you set the price with
them. So we are setting the price with them to make sure that there's a win-win, competitive, fair price. You get my point? So that is another thing. Then the next one is enforcement. Currently, when was the last time, Evans, you've done this work for ages. You are one of the most respected journalists in Ghana. When was the last time you heard that a gold smuggler has been arrested and his gold has been confiscated? When was the last time? We are not enforcing the law on gold smuggling. And we don't know the agency that is dedicated to the fight against gold smuggling. We are not. We've left it to the normal security agencies. We are not. But now you're going to see in this bill special powers given the Goldbod. Such as the right to appoint inspectors, Goldbod inspectors, who have the same powers as police officers, who have powers to come to your office if they are under reasonable suspicion that you are dealing in gold illegally. They can search, they can ask for documents, and if they have cause to believe that you are engaged in illegal gold trading or smuggling, they can seize your gold, they can impound, they can confiscate, okay? They can go to court for search warrants. They
by
can
themselves.
Go for they by themselves.
So the Attorney General is ceding part of his powers to that special inspector.
Exactly. Then with the Goldbod can maintain a task force in collaboration with other security agencies. And we are going to do that with national security. The Ministry of Interior, the Ministry of Defense are all going to be involved. This is going to be special. And we know the rules. We know those involved in the smuggling and all that. We know. And you trust me, you will see what will happen. Let the bill be passed and let the president assent it. You can't totally eliminate them. But you will see for the first time gold smugglers being arrested, their gold being seized, and they being taken to court, prosecuted, and some being convicted. And when that is done, when that deterrence is achieved,
you believe you
the
can deal
problem
with
of smuggling is half solved.
The finance minister, and I'm going to the subject of how you fund the purchase, told us that you will be buying 3 tons of gold every week. And you're going to be setting up what he calls this revolving fund to have this done. Where are you going to get the funds to make the purchase? Because my calculation, if you look at the current price of gold, you're talking about some $279 million every week to get the gold bought. And that is some excess of 4 billion cedis a week.
Yeah.
In this Ghana,
where we
with all the problems that we have, why are you going to get 4.3 billion cedis every week to buy gold? Well,
number one, that money has already been found and allocated by the minister. And that is why it is in the budget. And it will be in the appropriations. I mean, the minister, because this is one of the key priorities of government, he prioritized that in the budget and is making an appropriation for that. So I can tell you on authority that we already have that money. And for those who say that, why are we using the budget to buy gold? There cannot be any nobler agenda for public funds than investing in gold.
So break this down for me. So next week, the bill is passed, and just an assumption, right? And I just want to imagine this. You get your 4.3 billion, which you say has been budgeted for and will be appropriated for you. You buy the first week. You take the gold. The assumption is you're going to sell it on the global market at prevailing world market price, correct? You get your forex. It comes with the BOG?
Yeah, so what it means is that the government is saying we need dollars.
Okay.
Because a lot of people need dollars. And because of that, because we don't have dollars, we can borrow in dollars and all that, the cedi is depreciating. But we have cedis. We won't let the Bank of Ghana print cedis. It will cause inflation. That's high-powered money. But we as government, we've cut down on waste. We are not doing national cathedral. We are not flying in rented private jets. We are putting all that money together in cedis for Goldbod. Goldbod, go and use that cedis to buy gold. And when we buy the gold, we will export the gold. And when we export the gold, we sell and get dollars. So it means that cedis they are giving us, that 4.3 billion you're talking about, it means that averagely every week Goldbod will bring in $250 million.
And that,
if at least there is that gold on the market.
So when that comes in...
And if that comes in and we do that for 6 months...
What do you use the money for?
You know what the exchange rate will be?
No, there's this pause there. So you get the 250 million this week. What do you use the money for? Because next week you have to go back...
No. When the dollars comes, the dollars will go into our holding account at the Bank of Ghana. The Bank of Ghana needs the dollars. Then they will give us cedis. Because I don't need dollars to buy gold.
So to give you the CD equivalent.
So I am bringing dollars for the Bank of Ghana. All they do is to give me CD equivalents.
But the Bank of Ghana is seeking a 53 billion CD bailout. Why are they going to get the CD for you?
CDs is not a problem for the Bank of Ghana. They have a lot of CDs.
The same finance minister who found you the money, the same finance minister who stood in this show and told me that BOG wants 53 billion CDs bailout, and he's asked them to go and look for...
CDs have never been a problem. You see, CDs has never been a problem. If they have dollars, they will give you the CD equivalent. That is why they are the central bank. If they don't have, they will print for you. But that is not monetary financing because you brought dollars. And as the banker of government, they must give you the money in CDs. All state agencies are supposed to keep their forex with the Bank of Ghana. And the Bank of Ghana, when you need to draw down, will give you the CDs. So that is not a problem for the Bank of Ghana at all. And even if there is more gold than that $279 million, we can go to BDCs, we can go to banks and say, hey, you want dollars. Give us the cedis you have. Because all these BDCs are the ones who import fuel. They have cedis, they don't have dollars to import fuel. So give us your cedis through the Bank of Ghana. We will go and use your cedis to buy gold and bring in dollars so that you can get dollars to bring in product.
Okay, so
the problem of forex inflows is solved. We are going to have a strong national currency that is going to impact inflation and prices, and the ordinary Ghanaian is going to feel it in his pocket.
The challenge we've had with the cocoa board experience is that they didn't have to borrow to buy the cocoa. Do you plan to borrow?
We are not borrowing. You see, that is why the president and the minister of finance has done is
that you will not borrow to buy gold.
The government has given you money, seed capital, that can buy 3 tons. If that money is not enough, you can mobilize cedis from banks and BDCs and other people who need forex locally. If that money is not enough, in gold, we don't borrow to buy gold. There are people who are holding dollars, begging you to take their dollars to buy the gold for them, so that you can give them a small discount. Because we don't want to give anybody any discount, that will distort the markets. That is why we are not taking off-take funds. Either than that, today, if I need $300 million, Goldbod needs $300 million, one person can give you $300 million to buy all that. But you see, when that person gives you that money, he would want you to give the gold to him at a discount. Say 2%, 3%, 4%, 5%. And that means you have to go and buy the gold from the miner at that high cost. It is not fair to the miner. You may not get the good. It may fuel smuggling. So the government says, instead of you going to take somebody's money to buy, which then imposes a duty on you to buy the good from the miner at a high discount, I will give you the money. That's the beauty. Never in the history of this country have we had a government thinking this way. I'll give you the money.
Your 273 or 4.3 billion
cedis
is a drop in the ocean of what is out there that you can purchase.
No, it's not a drop in the ocean.
For 4.3, considering that you've told us that we are losing $2 billion.
Yeah, but if you check, you see, in 2024
of gold,
in 2024,
that's a lot out there that you need to purchase, and this is just going to scratch the surface.
No, hold on. In 2024. Ghana exported 64 tons of gold from small-scale mining. And that is because the Bank of Ghana was very active in the market buying. So we were able to export 64 tons. About 45 to 50 tons of that came from the Bank of Ghana, the rest from other exporters, okay? If you divide that 64 tons by 56 weeks, which is the total number of weeks in a year, you get averagely 1.1 tons a week. However, we know that what was smuggled was double that. So if you double it, you get 2.2 tons. So if you have money to buy 3 tons, it's good seed money. Okay. It's good startup capital. If you have more to buy, it's not a problem at all. There are many banks here. There are many BDCs here.
So you plan to raise capital locally.
Yeah.
If your initial capital
is not enough.
It's not enough.
It's not enough.
So which is really
and the banks and the BDCs are happy to work with us.
Okay, stay with me. I want to take a break. When I return, what happens to his own PMMC? It's a question we need to answer. PMMC has a mandate, very similar to what he's talked about the Goldbod. So what really will happen to PMMC? Stay with me after this.
Yeah.
Thank you for staying with us here on PM Express on the Joy News channel. My guest is still Sammy Gyamfi, talking about the Goldbod initiative, which the bill was laid before Parliament last week. Let's talk about value addition.
Yeah.
How do you plan to square that circle?
I'm very happy, Evans, that you've brought this matter up, because that has been the bane of gold trading in Ghana. Evans, will you believe it? That as a country that was once called the Gold Coast, a country that prides itself as a major producer and exporter of gold in Africa and in the world. In fact, currently we are number 1 in Africa and number 6 in the world. Will you believe it that we still export unprocessed gold, what we call dory bars? Unprocessed gold, scrap gold, is what we still export as a country. As we speak, we don't even have one functioning refinery in Ghana. So we don't even refine the gold. We sell the gold as dory bars. And in most cases, we don't get paid for the byproducts of refining gold, which is the silver, the copper, and the rest. We are not refining the gold. Number 2, look at a country that was once called the Gold Coast. And you can't even find a world-class jewelry production country or production company in the country. We PMMC, we have one, PGL, and we are not doing that well. And you ask yourself, why is that the situation?
What are you doing differently?
Why is that the case? That is the case because you don't have any agency promoting value addition. That is why Joe Mahama says we need a Goldbod. A state institution supported by the government to promote value addition. And so we are going to ensure, in the medium term, to ensure that we do not export dory bars again in the medium term.
So the gold that you buy, you refine.
We refine. But you don't get paid for our silver.
You don't have any refinery of any international repute.
We have Gold Coast Refinery. It has a capacity of refining about 400 kg a day. We have this one that Bawumia commissioned sitting on the land of PMMC. Is it Rosie?
Yeah.
Yeah, we have them, all of them.
That has been accredited by the UK.
There is a reason why they cannot refine, because they can't get the gold.
So you get the gold and give to them.
So if government is buying the gold, is in this chaotic environment, how can these refineries go into the market to buy? They don't even have the money to buy.
I mean, but
if government, hold on, if government buys the gold, government can allocate a portion
to them, and then you can export the rest for your forex.
For the downstream fabrication of gold into mints, into coins, into bullions, into but let me tell you something.
Talking about
I know you want to go to another area.
Because of time.
No, but I beg you, on value addition. This is very important.
Very briefly.
The reason why we want to do this, and if you are listening to me, please, let's do this for Ghana. Let's move away from storing our value or investing in dollars. Let's move away from converting cedis into dollars because we want to save money, and rather invest in gold. When the gold board comes,
I can come to you and buy gold.
We are going to have a gold souk in Ghana. We'll call it a gold village. And President Mahama is very particular about it.
So I take my CD.
And we are going to fabricate
Abuchi
to buy dollars.
I come
and buy gold. Okay. Come and buy a gold tablet. Come and buy a gold plate. Come and buy a gold coin. And even if you don't have money to buy an ounce, you can buy something small. You keep it there for your children.
Okay. So PMMC.
And that will reduce pressure on the sea.
You are the head of PMMC. PMMC's mandate is also to buy gold.
Yeah.
Right? All gold from small-scale miners, including the community mining scheme, shall be sold to government through PMMC with funding from the BOG. How is that different from Goldbod?
No. That mandate of the PMMC is not an exclusive mandate. The PMMC can buy and sell gold or license people to buy
the same thing
or sell gold.
You're proposing.
No.
You can buy and sell or license.
Hold on. PMMC is not the sole authority with exclusive power to buy gold. The Gold Board will be the sole authority with exclusive power to buy gold. Now you have PMMC. We don't even have money.
So amend the PMMC law and then capitalize it to do the job.
No, you need a new act, because PMMC now is a company limited by shares. It was converted by Act 461 from a statutory corporation into a company limited by shares. And by the passage of that act has been, by Act 461, the PNDC Law 219, which established PMMC, has been repealed.
So what becomes of PMMC after the Gold Board is passed?
So PMMC is now being converted from a company into a statutory corporation again, but this time around it will be called Goldbod. And this Goldbod
so it will cease to exist.
It will cease to exist as a company. But this Goldbod is taking over the assets, liabilities, duties, functions, obligations of the PMMC. All contracts entered into by the PMMC will be taken over by Goldbod. All workers of the PMMC, upon the passage and the assent of the Goldbod bill, become automatic workers.
Including yourself?
Including myself.
So you no longer, I can't describe you now as the managing director of PMMC when it is passed.
No.
You become the managing director of the Gold Board.
In fact, the law says CEO.
Gold Board will have the chief executive
officer of Gold Board, and all the workers do the same thing. So we are just saying we don't want to duplicate agencies. This PMMC, we want to give it more powers, more objects, more functions. But this time around, we are calling it Gold Board.
And an important distinction you made between PMMC and Gold Board is that Gold Board has exclusive mandate to purchase.
To trade gold, to buy and sell. And not just that, PMMC doesn't have any power to export gold.
Okay, but now you have
Gold Board will have the sole power, the exclusive power.
You say so. What happens to MIF?
MIF does not export gold.
No, in buying gold, they can still buy gold and trade.
MIF agrees that it deviated from its core function into gold trading. They are supposed to maximize minerals income through investment. So the understanding I have is that they will be doing that. But when it comes to buying and exporting gold, that will be done by the Gold Board. And that is what this law says.
Okay, so the law is very clear.
Yeah, that's what the only agency that
but they still exist, and they need the gold to of course, to invest. Is a mineral income investment.
Oh, if MIF wants to...
So you are buying it on their behalf?
If MIF wants to do anything, I mean, in the area of gold, it will obviously partner the Gold Board. You understand? Just like if we want to do anything for miners, we have to go through the Minerals Commission and the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources. If we want to do anything in relation to geological investigations, we have to partner the Geological Survey Department. If we want to do anything in the area of land reclamation and support sustainable initiatives, like blue water initiatives and all that, we have to partner the Ministry of Environment, Science and Technology. This is a no-brainer. So that is what is going to happen. If you read the Goldbod bill, it enjoins us to implement our functions and objects in collaboration with other agencies. But another benefit of the Goldbod, apart from value addition, making sure that we optimize the benefits we get from the good and move away from exporting good in its raw form without adding value. Another advantage is what we call responsible sourcing and traceability. You know that, Evans, all the gold that we produced last year from small-scale mining, 64 tons, worth $4.6 billion. You know that gold cannot be sold to Europe or US. It cannot be sold to an LBMA refinery.
Why?
You can only sell to India, China, Dubai, Turkey, and the rest. Why? Because it does not meet LBMA standards. What do I mean by that? The gold is not traceable and not responsibly sourced. And so, when you have Goldbod, and currently, you don't have any organization promoting traceability and responsible sourcing. Anyone buys gold, whether it is from Galamsey, whether the gold was got from the pollution of water, everyone buys. And we treat all the gold the same. And that is why LBMA refineries don't accept the gold. But now Goldbod is coming and Goldbod is going to pursue a responsible sourcing and traceability policy. And in the medium to long term, anyone who does Galamsey, you can sell your gold.
There are two quick questions before we wrap up.
We won't buy it.
Another big concern that had come up when this was first mooted was transparency concerns, which has bedeviled many agencies in this country, especially new ones. What are the accountability transparency mechanisms inbuilt in this legislation that you put there?
Well, first of all, you look at the composition of the board and the representation on the board. You have the governor of the central bank there or his representative. You have the minister for finance there or his representative. You have the minister responsible for mines there or his representative. You have the board chairman. You have the chief executive. But more importantly, you have the representative of large-scale mining companies nominated by the chief of mines. Then you have the representative of small-scale miners nominated by the association representing the interests of small-scale miners. Then you have a representative of the traders, those who buy and sell the gold, also on the board. You understand? And apart from this, the bill before Parliament has certain special transparency provisions. For example, reporting. Every year, we are supposed to send our reports to the Minister of Finance, who must present the reports to Parliament for scrutiny, so that the people's representatives will know what this money you're talking about, this $279 million, how it was used. Okay, whether it was in the interest of the state and in line with the objects of the Goldbod or not. Apart from that, we are supposed to every year hold public fora where stakeholders like civil society organization, industry representatives, and the general public will come. And at this forum, we will discuss the operations of the Goldbod and receive feedback and consider recommendations for improving the operations of the Goldbod. That is clause 72 of in the Goldbod bill currently before Parliament. And then, of course, there are reports that we are supposed to publish on our website. All our guidelines are supposed to be gazetted, and they are all supposed to be published on our website. So there is total transparency in the operations of the Goldbod.
And just before you leave, I see on your committee that pulled this technical committee together, you have the Minerals Commission.
The Minerals Commission is there, MIF is there, Bank of Ghana is there.
There's a question that CS civil society organizations have been asking government. You have Mate Isi, who was part of the previous administration. In fact, many civil society organizations blame him for the current state of the illegal mining across the country. He's still there. What's happening to him? The civil society have actually issued a joint statement asking
there in his
the government
capacity as CEO of
Minerals Commission.
Yeah, so he's there in that capacity because you can't, develop the framework of this institution called Goldbod without the input of Minerals Commission.
Yeah, because
so long as he's there as the chief executive officer, he needs to represent the institution. And he's not there alone. He's there with their legal officer. He's there with the director for small-scale mining as well.
A lot of civil society organizations blame him for supervising the illegal mining.
Evans, let me tell you this. I believe in the experience and foresight and wisdom of His Excellency the President. I know that he knows what he's doing by keeping him there. And only he who has the prerogative to hire and fire, knows where, when, and when he intends to change him, or whether he wants to keep him there. The president, you see, President Mahama, I can say, is the most experienced politician you have in Ghana today. There's a man who's been MP for 3 terms, deputy minister, vice president, president, and the man is president again. He knows what he's doing. Let's just give him the benefit of the doubt. But what I want to say in conclusion, number one, I want to thank all stakeholders, particularly small-scale miners, the Concerned Small-Scale Miners Association, led by PEPRA, then the Ghana. Oh, yes, we've engaged extensively. Even, I'm sure you've seen the pictures. We've been to the Eastern region, we've been to the Western region, we've been to the Ashanti region, we've held meetings here in Accra, all stakeholders, including all the CSOs, even the coalition of CSOs in the extractive
And Parliament will have to engage
We've met all of them.
On the back of the bill.
And in Parliament, the cooperation we have received from the joint parliamentary committee working on the bill, Finance Committee and the Committee on Lands and Natural Resources. One of them, I will not mention his name because I don't have his permission, told me that I have not seen any bill come under parliamentary scrutiny like your bill. The last 3 days has not been easy for us at all. It's been back and forth, line by line. I never knew that parliamentarians do this kind of detailed work on bills. But in our case, they themselves attest to the fact that it's been special. Clause by clause, we have to defend everything. And you can see this. This is the amended bill. What is in circulation is not a bill. More than 30, 40 amendments have been done to the bill.
I'm taking a copy of what you have.
I'll give you a copy. And this amended bill has been relayed. The old one has been withdrawn and relayed.
Do you have any timelines? I know you don't control Parliament.
The President gave us 60 days. We delivered. A record time.
Now it's in the bosom of Parliament.
It's in the bosom of Parliament. But from the indication I'm getting, it will be passed before Parliament rises. And let me commend them.
Parliament rises for the Easter?
Yes. I think it will be passed before then. Because we've been working.
That will be expeditious.
Yeah, from last week, we've been working. We've had...
You want this passed before Parliament rises for Easter?
Because we are done with consideration. We've held about 3 meetings on consideration alone. And when we are done...
What's the rush?
When we are done, the minority says we have further proposals for amendments, and we go and we do it. And they have been working round the clock. Honorable Amin Anta, the ranking member for the Finance Committee, I salute him. He and the chairman, Honorable Isaac Adongo, the chairman for the Lands and Natural Resources Committee, the Honorable Collins Dauda, the ranking members, they've done a yeoman's job, and we need to commend them. And they've approached this from a bipartisan position.
I mean, you submitted
They've all said that, look,
last week,
politics aside, we support this in principle, but we want this bill.
The Easter break is next week.
Yes.
And you expect it to be passed before
you can keep a bill in Parliament for 1 year. If the committees are not working on it, they are not working on it. The most important thing is that for the limited period that the bill has been in Parliament, they've been working on it. When we go for meetings, sometimes at 10, we close at 4, 5 p.m. Clause by clause. The committee has gone through it clause by clause at least 3 times.
Okay.
3 times.
Mr. Gyamfi,
we are done with consideration. We have withdrawn effected amendments. The AG has done his work. We are relaying. It will be referred to the committee again. They will still look through it before they will lay their report before Parliament, before it goes for 2nd reading, 3rd reading, and all that. We are hoping that by this week it will be approved for us. Because the CD keeps depreciating, and we need to bring that under control so that Ghanaians can have some respite. I
mean, the government, the previous government, will tell that's exactly what they were doing with the gold purchasing initiative by the BOG.
Well,
is it duplicating what they did?
No, they tried to do it, but they didn't structure the market. They didn't have gold for oil and all that. The policy intent was good, but the implementation was shambolic. And that is why Bank of Ghana says it is withdrawing, because the losses are too much and the IMF will not allow them to continue. And all that. So the policy intent, I must say, was good, but the implementation. If you want to do something like that, you need to go to Parliament. You see, they woke up one day, issued a press statement, and said they were suspending all export licenses. And henceforth, all gold must be sold to the Bank of Ghana through the...
It was an emergency situation that required emergency intervention.
We are consulting all stakeholders. I'm here tonight with you. By tomorrow morning, I'm in Bolgatanga. engaging minors. Tomorrow morning I'm there.
Well,
next week I'm in Bali.
I wish you all the best.
You understand?
And
so
that there is
you need to do this
Sammy
and get everybody on board.
Managing Director
you'll be able to achieve
PMMC, soon to become the Chief Executive Officer of Goldbod. That is if he gets his way next week. We'll see. Enjoy the rest of your evening.